Yes, please, you can start.
Okay, our today's topic is securing PHP application. It's a fundamental necessity to secure our PHP application because even a single vulnerability can compromise whole of the system or application or lead to severe consequences. So in this session, we will learn how to secure our PHP applications. So security has three key pillars. The CIA triad is a fundamental security model of three key pillars: confidentiality, availability, and integrity. Confidentiality means the data should be authentic. The data should be authenticated user. It should not be disclosed to the unauthenticated user in any way. And availability means that the data should be available when needed, and integrity means the data should be not the data should be accurate and correct, not the modified and tempered data. So this is the three key pillars of security, and it's called CIA triad. So now the security matters so much. Let me tell you past stories. In back 2005, there is a company named MySpace. It was a social media platform having 332 million users, and one of the users find a cross-site vulnerability in an application and put a malicious JavaScript code into the application that affect 32 million users that affect 32 million users and a lot of financial damage. And the second case in 2008, the Heartland payment system, it was business payment. This system does a business payment, credit card payments for the business. And in this system, there is an SQL vulnerability that exploited by an attackers, and it caused a lot severe consequences. 130 million cards numbers stolen, and a lot of fines and settlement this company would face. So this how much these vulnerabilities can cause such severe consequences. Now let's discuss the four horsemen of security and their defenses. The four horsemen, the first one is SQL injection. As it is name showing the injection, it is something about injecting something into the SQL. SQL is a database. So like the normal user enter their correct credentials, the username, password, the correct, but it is not necessary for an attackers to write the correct credentials. So they craft a malicious inputs and find the vulnerabilities in application, and if there's a vulnerability in application, then the malicious code can be inserted and it's lead to severe consequences. And to prevent our application from SQL injection, we usually use prepared statements and parameterized queries. These are the methods to secure our application from malicious inputs and malicious code. So what prepared statements and parameterized queries does, usually what happened when someone enter the input, it directly uh, connect it to the SQL query. It directly inserted into the SQL query. But when we use prepared statement and parameterized queries, it took it as a not an SQL query. It doesn't take inputs as an SQL query. It separates the concerns. Like it took it as a simple text and then append it to the query and save it into the database. So this is how it prevents
Hello,
SQL
Tuba. Can
injection.
I can I have, can I have a second?
Yes.
Alright, please can you kindly turn on your because
Sorry.
this can you kindly turn on your cameras and see what's behind the presentation because this is a live stream section, so it's video based.
I didn't understand. Sorry.
I mean, you should kindly turn on your camera so we can see who's behind the presentation because this is a video based section and it's live stream. But did you understand?
Okay. Is it? Yes. Is it necessary?
Oh, yes, it is necessary.
Okay.
Hello, Tuba. Are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because we are still waiting for you. Sorry, are you able to turn on your camera now so you can just present it?
Sorry?
I said, are you able to turn on your camera so you can continue
Yes,
presenting?
I turned on.
Okay, okay. All right, so you
You
can
can't
just
see.
make us not appearing on the screen. But you can just go ahead, continue presenting, please. Sorry for that.
Okay, were discussing the SQL injection. In cross-site scripting, the attacker put a malicious code. Attacker find a vulnerability in an application and put a malicious code in JavaScript code into the application. It is sometimes it's stored, it is reflected, and sometimes it is uh, DOM, cross-site scripting. And how attacker add the malicious code, find a vulnerability and add through the URL or through the input or input tags or the forms, or this is how it added into the website. And their defense is to output encoding and content security policy. This is the prevention of cross-site scripting. Output encoding, basically there are three things: sanitization, escaping, and encoding that we use to prevent cross-site scripting, and also the content security policy CSP, which are headers. So let me explain, first of all, explain sanitization and escaping. In sanitization, the input is coming into the application through forms or through any mean. What happens? The sanitization removes the unwanted things from the input, and after removing the unwanted things, it saves into the database. And also, we use the uh, output encoding escaping, in which what we do, we save the in output escaping, we clean the content, we escape the unnecessary things from the content and escape securely to the website. So this is how we uh, uh, show the content into our applications. And for it is different, there are different functions to encode and sanitize our content with respect to the context. Like if we are getting an HTML as an input, then we have it as special functions for HTML, like HTML special cars. And if we are using an attribute, then there is different functions for, there are sanitization function we use, and also the escaping function we use. Also, the content security policy, it is a security policy that secure our web applications from the request. Like we restrict uh, our application, what our application should accept and what should reject. We can define in our content security policy. In the cross-site scripting, what attacker do? Attacker make the real user, like suppose there is a bank site, and someone is a real user of that bank, and he opened that bank account, his bank account on the website. Attacker make real user to perform unwanted action from his account. It can be happen through the links. By attacker can share the malicious link through the email, through any mean, and when the user click on that link, the the malicious code run at saved behind that links, and the unwanted action performed, like the deletion of any data, the setting got changed, or the money transferred or anything. Then the fourth one is session hijacking. And uh, in this attack, what attacker do? Took Attacker hijack the whole session, and use that session as a real user. Attacker becomes a real user by session hijacking. But by session hijacking, attacker use hijack the real user session, and Uh, this happens when we use weak cookies, weak session generation. Then this session hijacking can happen, and if it can also be happen through the XSS, if attackers send code through the XSS, cross-site scripting, or through CSRF, and when user click the code, hijack the session and send all the detail to the hacker, and then hacker use that detail to hijack session and use that session, and hacker can do anything from that session. Now let me explain all these things, all these security horsemen with the story. And I create a story in which our characters are our three our have we have three characters: John Doe, Victor, and Save Bank. John Doe is a real user of SaveBank is an application built using PHP and MySQL. John Doe is a real user and Victor is an attacker. So what happens is, say in the SaveBank application, there is a feedback form. That feedback form concatenates user inputs directly into SQL queries. That means the parameterized queries and prepared statements are not applied. The form directly concatenates the inputs into the query and save into the database or perform database operations. So this is the vulnerability in an application. Victors find out that vulnerability. He submits inputs, crafted input, malicious input into the fields, and that returns a private user record to the attacker. This is how what happened. As a result, what happens? Confidentiality and integrity completely compromised, because if the attacker can change the data, can modify the data, and it can access. Attacker shouldn't access that data, but he accessed that data using the SQL injection breach vulnerability in an application. So the defense is we have to use the prepared statements and hide database errors and everything from the user. The second one is cross-site scripting. In cross-site scripting, Victor is an attacker. Victor injects malicious script into the SaveBank comment system. There is a comment page in an application in which the attacker, which is a Victor, which inject malicious code. When John visits the page, and that code gets saved into the database, the code that Victor enters. So that code and saved into the database. When John, the real user, visits the page, Victor's code is executed in their browsers, and when that code runs, it steal data from the real user browsers and send it to the attacker. So this is how XSS attack happens. And in the CSRF attack, the attacker Victor crafts a malicious link and send it to the John through any mean, through email, through any mean, and make and make it to make him to click on that link or use that link. When the John Doe, the real user, clicked on that link while logged in into the session, that link uh, steal all the data from the browser, from the all the uh, data from the browser and send it to the attacker. So this is how these attacks happen. And to prevent the CSRF attacks, we have to use the tokens and secure cookies. And to prevent the excesses attack, we have to use the sanitization, proper escaping, and CFP policy. The fourth one is session hijacking, uh, in which the victor hijacked the John session. After successful login, a session ID is assigned to the user. And if like just when John logged into the session, a session ID is assigned to him. If the session ID is not fully secure, attacker can steal it and use it accordingly. So by using the XSS vulnerability, cross-site vulnerability, Victor steal the session ID of the John and use in their system as a real user. So it completely take an account, his account, and compromising confidentiality and integrity. So in order to prevent session hijacking, we use secure HTTP only cookies, regenerate session IDs. Like regenerate IDs means like if we are doing a sensitive things in our application like transfer money or any sensitive things, we have to regenerate ID for these specific things. Or like if we are in some application, like if we open that application, it doesn't show any, it use a simple ID. When we again log into that session, it just appends some numbers or something. So it is a guessable ID. We shouldn't use that types of session IDs. We should use a proper secure IDs in order to prevent session hijacking. The conclusion is after using all these four vulnerabilities, Save Bank account, Save Bank application completely compromised. So, so it should be secured with every mean, with all the regarding every horseman regard. We should prevent our applications. So now let me demo using DVWA. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can see your screen.
DBW. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, it's showing your presentation on the four horsemen and their defenses.
Okay, let me show you. Now you can see my DVW application.
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is a application to test
Yes, yes, you
and
can see your DVW.
okay. This is an application to test and practice skills, security skills. This is for the security purpose. This application is for the students or for the security professional to test their skills and practice their skills. So we demo all these vulnerabilities here in DVWA application. So okay, let me share my complete screen. Is there any option to share the complete screen? Mhm.
I didn't get that part. I didn't get you.
Okay, let me explain from here. In DVWA, there are four security. Okay, in DVWA, we have four levels: impossible, high, medium, and low. These are the security levels. Impossible means it is completely secure, highly secured. High level means it is secured but not with best practices. And medium level means it is less secured, and low means fully insecure. So here we use low level here to test, and let me show you stored here. Now we select a low level security level, and now let me give a script here. Okay, now you can see script is running here, here, alert is showing. So it shouldn't be run the script, it should be secure. So we select a low security level here. So that is why script runs here instead of preventing script to run. So now let's select the impossible level. As you can see now, no alert is showing. It just save here and it get encoded into this. Instead of this script, it is it get encoded into this. Now let me show you a code how this happened. What is the difference between impossible, what they implement in impossible, and what are the uh, security vulnerability in low. So in low, they simply you input name and text message and sanitize using strip slashes and just update the database. There is no prepared statements here, nothing, no proper sanitization method here they use. And in the impossible, they use an anti-CSRF token, cross-site request forgery token. Then they get input, and here they use a special HTML special charge sanitization method, and here also. And then for the database update, they use a prepared statement here. So this is how they secured the impossible version, and this is how the low secured version is working. That is why it is taking a script as an input and running that script. And the impossible version is not taking the script. Instead, they convert into characters, encode into a different characters. And in the reflected, here we select an impossible. So it gets simply saved here and no alert is showing. Now, when I select the low level, it is showing an alert here. Now let me explain the code. Here in Impossible, they also use the CSRF token, and then the HTML special also sanitize here and then show, and also generate a session token, anti-CSRF token here. So this is how they prevent reflected accesses, and here they didn't use anything nothing like that, no CSRF token, and no sanitization at all. And now let me show you a week session. As you can see, there is a session ID here. Here we use the low. So let me open it here. I think you can't see this. Can you see my different browser? Second browser,
You can see the browser.
can you see?
Yes, 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 I can see.
Okay. Okay. Here, when I am trying to open this link, it is redirecting me to the login.php and not opening this link here. So now let me
Hi, Tuba. I still on the section.
sorry.
All right, you stopped talking for a while.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, I was saying like you stopped talking, or are you done with the presentation?
Okay. Okay, let me show you a CSRF here. If I add a new password here, it is for changing a password. Now password is the password of this DVWA app is password. So let me change it to admin. And okay, now this you as you can see this link here. If I change this, if I copy this link from here, and change the password to something else. Admin 123, and here. Now the password here is the admin. Now let me show you. I logged out from here. Now let me add an admin password here. Okay. Now the password is the username is admin and password is admin here. And I copied the link and paste the same link here in the new browser. Now consider this new browser as a different user. Suppose this is a different user. So here I suppose I send a link to the user and change the password admin123 and into admin123. When that user run this link, the password automatically got changed. If this by unknowingly, unintentionally, the real user don't know that this link has a code that can change my password, but it in the backend this link is changing the password. So when the user click on this link, the password got changed. So the password becomes admin123. Now if I log out this and try to log in with admin, when the real user try to log in with admin,
All right, super safe. It's almost past 1 hour to section. And I would like to like us to introduce the second speaker. Just came into the section at this point. Can you hear me?
sorry, yes,
I said it's yes, I said it's almost past 1 hour to the section, and now the second speaker is currently available.
okay.
All right, so yes, so I would like to second speaker now. All right, so good afternoon once again, and you are welcome to the Intros PHP section. And introducing the second speaker in person of Jackson Jackson, who is a software developer specializing in PHP and Laravel with a strong focus on building scalable backend systems and user-centric applications. With hands-on experience in fintech, HRM, and SaaS development, he has led projects ranging from loan management platform to web applications. Beyond coding, Jackson is passionate about sharing knowledge, mentoring upcoming developers, and contributing to the growth of the ecosystem. Mr. Jackson, welcome to Becomes PHP. Um, so Mr. Jackson, are you on the call? You on the section? Hello, Mr. Jackson. Are you there? I don't know. It seems there should be connection issues from my end or his end. Right? Or can anyone hear me? Please, if you can hear me, please say something.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think it should be from his end. Once again, Mr. Jackson, are you there? Please kindly unmute if you are speaking. Your mic is muted. You are speaking. So kindly unmute. Why? So it seems second speaker should be having connection issues because he's supposed to have unmuted and at least said something. So while you wait for him to um, I would like to um, ask us participants of this section if you have questions for the first speaker. She gave a presentation on stuff about securing having a secured platform with PHP. So can we raise up questions if there are any? Though I have some from my end if you guys don't have questions. So questions can start coming in for space for the first speaker. So please let's keep it going. Any question? Please you can raise up your hand if you have questions. So I can just call you up and then you speak up. While I wait for questions to come in, I will just go ahead to ask my question. Mr. Basaif, are you hope you are still there? All right, someone has a question. Oladimeji Aokoyo, yes, you have a question. You can please unmute and then ask your question. But let me confirm if let's confirm if Tuba is still on the section. Tuba, are you still on the section? Hi, Tuba, if you're speaking, you're muted currently, so I can't hear if you're speaking. And there is a question that
Yes, I
is.
can hear.
All right, all right. Yes, so already Major Okoyo, please go ahead with your question. Then please go ahead with your question, Okoyo Ladimeji.
Hello?
I don't know. Ladimeji Okoyo, your hand was raised quite a moment ago.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so I think someone registered with my link. I think that's why it's showing my name. So please, if you're the one raising your hand to ask a question, please can you go ahead? It's actually not me. You registered my link, so it's showing my name as you. So if you're the one who wanted to ask a question, please can you proceed with your question? Okay, Jude, please go ahead.
Okay, so sorry, I was just trying to get the Zoom link because I've not used Eventbrite before. That was why I wasn't able to join in time. So I was the one using your link. I wanted to ask because I didn't join in time. I wanted to ask the app she used in checking the vulnerability, how we can get it.
Hello, Jude. Sorry, we didn't get your question. Can you come again? What was the question?
Like I saw she used an app, like a on her system to check the when she was, I think she was checking if the website was vulnerable also. That was where I met Suba.
Okay, so what exactly is your question?
Trying like I probably I want to do it on my own. Like if the app is something I can get downloaded, or I don't know.
Okay.
Me, or the audio is not very loud.
Can you hear me?
Suba
Or
will
should I
answer that,
drop?
but
Should
I
I?
think you do
Okay,
that
okay.
on our local.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but just the process of protecting your application. Suba, did you get the question?
No, can you repeat?
So it's asking that,
I didn't
are you using an
get
app
it properly.
that is on your page, but I'm letting him know that you actually use localhost. It's something you built on your local environment. Is that right?
The DVWA app,
So his question basically is, how can he protect his app? What are the steps? What and what does he need to do to have
okay.
an environment,
Basically,
just the way you have an environment to test? What does he need to do to have an environment to test his app for vulnerabilities?
okay, question is how do we get the application we use to check if my site is vulnerable? Okay, basically, the app I used here is DVWA, which is used to check or practice the vulnerabilities, different kinds of vulnerabilities and their prevention, how to prevent them. Not how to check this, how to check is our app is vulnerable or not. Is there are the security practices we implement to make our app secure, but I think there is the attacker check through different kinds of inputs. Usually attacker checks through the inputs, different kinds of inputs, through the accesses, through SQL injection inputs, through XSS input that they give to in the form of URLs, in the form of links, or different ways. So there are the security preventions we have used to prevent our application. Like for the cross-site scripting, we sanitize and escape all the input and output, and also we use the CSP, Content Security Policy. These are the method to protect our application from cross-site scripting. CSP is used to restrict what kind of data we want to run in our application, what kind of data we want to get into our application, and what we want to reject. So we define the rules in the CSP header. CSP is used to protect our application, and also whatever we are taking input and whatever we are going or showing into our front end, we have to sanitize and escape properly. And for the SQL injection, we usually use prepared statements and parameterized queries and different kinds of methods. But I think there could be a specific tool that can check our applications or test what are the vulnerabilities found in our applications. But basically, DVWA is just to practice and test the vulnerabilities. Did you get, or you have any more confusion?
Joe, does that answer your question? I believe it should answer your question. Hello, George. Can you hear? Can you hear? All right. So moving forward, I would like to add one more question. I'm a layman, and I don't really know much about PHP. So I would just like to ask, for the sake of our audience, that what are some easy mistakes people make when coding in PHP?
Sorry, you were talking to me. I got cut off.
All right, I was asking if you understood or you got the answer to your question.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's great. And then I went ahead to say that I have a question to ask. Although I'm a layman in PHP, and for the sake of attendees, I would like to ask, what are some easy mistakes people do when coding in PHP?
Okay, this is your question. Okay.
Should I repeat my question?
Basically, yes.
I said, what are some easy mistakes people make when coding in
Okay.
PHP? Yes.
Okay. First, let me explain the huge question. There are some automated tools. Basically, what we do first, we do the assessment of our website. Is this vulnerable or not by inputting different kinds of inputs by and there are some automated tools to check is our site vulnerable or safe, like Suit and others. We can use them to check the vulnerability of our website or our application. And the common mistakes PHP developers made that make their applications insecure are like they do not sanitize or escape properly. That is so vulnerable for cross-site scripting. Proper sanitization or no proper sanitization or escaping can expose it to cross-site scripting. So there are different, in every language, in every framework, there are different methods of sanitization and escaping. And also there are libraries or frameworks that we can use to perform sanitization or escaping. Also, they did not use the secure cookies. So when they did not use the secure cookies, uh, the cookies are exposable or guessable or uh, also the when they do not use the secure sessions like random sessions, guessable sessions, like attacker can guess, or sometimes people use time as a session. So time is attacker can guess the time. So it can hijack the session if we use a simple sessions, or also for the cross-site scripting, we should use the cross-site token so that when any request made, sensitive request made, the cross-site CSRF token should send to the along with them. So attacker can't guess the CSRF token. So these are the basic things people miss and that make their site vulnerable.
Oh, wow. All right. Thanks for that enlightenment. I think I got most of what you said. All right, thank you so much, Saif. Madam, Mr. Jackson, are you back? Can you speak now?
Hello everybody. Yes, good afternoon. Just want to confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. I'm very sorry. I've had like a very long day, and I'm currently in another event, so I just had to take the call. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. So while I was in the other session, I had my headphones on so I could hear the first speaker. Like she has done a very good job explaining all of the concepts around securing your PHP application. So in order not to still repeat all what she has said, I made a few notes a few days back on the topic because I assume the other speaker, which my assumption is correct, would speak mostly on all of the technical parts. So mine is to just give you like an overview and then speak to you as not just a developer, but like as a senior developer, someone that is how do I put it now? So someone that is in more of a senior position, how would you view securing an application? And there's also this notion where you feel like PHP is not capable of some things. That's a lie. I personally have used PHP for fintech applications. I mean, if PHP can fly for something as huge as a microfinance bank, it means that it can pretty much handle almost anything that you can throw at it. Because with most sites, or if you have just a front end or a in-house, let's say an ERP or a CRM, you can make mistakes. On fintechs, you cannot. Like 0.0 whatever that you miss can like really destroy all of a lot of things. Now imagine trying to expose or deliberately or even by mistake exposing these vulnerabilities within your application. It means that if you don't land in jail, you'll be very lucky. So I'm just going to talk about securing your application from like a different perspective. The first thing is for me, especially when it comes to security, is that you should see yourself, or you should just imagine it as you are the attacker. When you look at it this way, when you see it that way, it means that you are able to think or imagine where the vulnerabilities within your own application would most likely come from. For instance, you know that if I am displaying or if I'm passing my password through get, if I am using like a URL snapper, something I can pick off from your URL. If you are if you allow weak passwords, it means that if I stumble upon a website that has weak password authentication or verification, it means that I just need to probably write some Python scripts. I need to run like thousands of validations, and then it should be able to break out, be able to get in. So you have to also think like the attacker, look at it from the perspective of someone that wants to break into an application. What would you do? And then when you think about it that way, then um you'll be able to make those defenses better. How many of us have seen To Kill a Monkey here? It's a popular trend on Netflix. Are you guys there?
Yes, I am. I don't think I've come across something like that.
Yeah, so To Kill a Monkey is a very popular Netflix short series. It's about, if you remember clearly, the story of Ife. He was on the good side, and then he was trying to build systems for banks and all of these fintechs to be able to protect the application from fraudsters from taking over the application. And then the moment he switched, I'm sure when he was building all of those things, he imagined that his application is the most secured. I mean, it can help you detect fraud and all of those things, and then even mark them early for you to be able to identify them. But the moment he made the switch, that he became the one attacking, all of those defenses, all of those things that he was able to build to be able to block all of those things, he is now able to exploit those vulnerability. So what I'm saying in essence is that if you're building your application, you should also look at it from the perspective of someone that is trying to gain access into that system. That way you'll be able to design a more secured application, a more secure approach. Second thing I would also like to talk about is business logic vulnerabilities. These are things that it's not exactly a vulnerable um it's not exactly a vulnerability, but you also have to look at it from the perspective of like the business use case. For instance, businesses will tell you that coupon, yes, we want to give coupon. Coupons are legit, like you're supposed to if you depending on your use case. But you should also be able to validate coupons. You should be able to make sure that they're following um your checks are in sync. So for instance, your coupon could be a maximum or minimum of $100 for you to be able to cash this coupon. And then there's also another coupon that says free delivery on, let's say, like $50. Now someone can, if you do not arrange all of those if else, you're going to end up having where one part where they probably combine all of the coupons, and then at the end of it they're paying zero because your checks are not valid. um tamper with IDs. So this is also very common when you are also trying to make verifications or change states of a particular data, and then you're passing it based on user ID. So it's easy for me to, again, that means you have to make sure that you're securing your application. If I should go to your URL and I should switch from the user ID equals to 1, and then I switch it to maybe user ID equals to 2, or I'm trying to pass out maybe a role. I'm saying this user is equals to let's say admin. But because your URL, like everything's written on your URL, if I switch that and then change it to user one is equals to super admin, and there are no checks even from your backend to double check that, okay, does this person have the permission to be able to alter that particular role to be a super admin? All of those things needs to be checked. So just look at the business logic vulnerability. Another thing I would also like to talk about is secure application, is secure architecture. For people that especially that works with VPS, that work with AWS, that works with container, basically, you should also know that because sometimes you're getting, what's the word I would use now? Because you're getting like a fresh install, like the entire OS is on you. The network configuration is on you, the database configuration is on you, the proxy and all of those things is on you. You also have to make sure that whatever you're hosting your application in, that it is secure. Your outbound traffic, inbound traffic, local traffic within the application itself, you have to make sure that you're also securing that as well. You should also, she has spoken about this one, ENV. Make sure that you are not storing passwords. At this point, I think everyone should know that. Make sure you're not storing passwords in your local file. I've actually come across, so I worked on a project in 2023. Yeah, it was supposed to be an API for Twitter, like this Twitter, but before it became a thing now. So it will key into particular user. So Elon Musk, like very popular people that have a huge following, and then once they make a tweet, we pick up that tweet, send it to AI. AI gives the perfect response, and then sends it back to Twitter, and then it tweets and then responds. The idea was just to be able to grow an account just by commenting on that particular account. One of our developers actually made a mistake. His own, because before you can tweet, Twitter gives you, what's this thing called now? Twitter gives you a session ID where you have you have a login basically of a user, and then because he did not want to keep, when we were still developing, he did not want to keep saving, having to type out that password. He saved it in a TXT file and then add the application, read the text file, and then use that as login. The mistake he did was that he pushed that, and that failed. We It did not pick up through any check, and then it was posted to GitHub. And then we noticed that some accounts that we did not even ask it to follow, it was responding to it. Apparently, there's also another bot on the same chat that picked up that file, and it was using it to tweet. So even when the bot was tweeting, the tweet seemed like it was coming from our own account, even though it wasn't from the account that we had hooked it up to. So you should also you should be careful about how you store private or sensitive information, which the first speaker also mentioned about session. You should also have combined defense, like if you're checking front end, you should also check back end. Don't say, oh, because um I don't know if you've seen this popular what's it called now? It's a skits, I would call it, where the QA was asking you that, why can I upload music on my profile picture? And then the person was asking that, why should, like, the developer, from the developer's standpoint is, why would you see profile picture and then it is music you're picking to use as your DP? It is not a, it doesn't matter, like, what is important for that application, what would be ideal for that application is for you to not even be able to upload music in the first place. You don't need to, apart from validating it in your front end, you should also be able to validate that on your back end to be able to highlight and select what information you want to be stored in your database. It's not skip you if you skip the first part and then you are taking additional resource, because if you already passed the information from the front end and send it back to the back end, and depending on how you handle file uploads, it might be that it is already saved in a temporary folder, processed, then now find out, oh, this is not what I actually want, and then that's when it will fail. You should, which is also very important, is the last 2 points I'm going to make because I'm running out of time. Is you should also be proactive with response and then documentation. Okay, so we had this issue as at last month. What did we do wrong? What can be better? Because it is only when you're able to track um all of the vulnerabilities you have within your application, and then you continue to what's the word now? You continue to block them, you continue to improve those vulnerability, would you have a more secure application? You might not have it you might not have it like first to go, but the more you continue to develop, the more you continue to push better code, the more you continue to push high quality code, the better for your application. Like Mr. Badi has always been saying, if you push a code out once and then it is there for like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and you've not done any refactoring, it means nobody's actually using your application. Because within that period, I'm sure some of the dependencies that you've been using, if you're using like any framework, some of the methods that you have been using, in fact, your data, your server itself, like there are other things that would have come up that you'd have need to be able to adjust. Yes, so that is my last point. The last point I'll just mention, so I can close out, is the human factor, that is social engineering. If you are, of course, you're in IT, and then within your team, you might be, you might be aware of some of these attacks, but you should also be able to pass that to other members of your staff, people that are not exactly technical or people that are not tech savvy. So you should have like training for your staff, and phishing training, explain how all of these things work. If they get email that is not exactly from you, how do you should be able to raise that, you should be able to bring that to the attention of the IT team. We have a policy where I currently work where you do not respond to a mail that you do not trust. And then even before that, we have layers of spam control. So even emails that is, and then it's control. So you cannot have access to some certain files because you do not know who the which person is. If you're same way, if you're just bringing a new intent to your project, you do not just throw them the most sensitive part of your application. You test them, you test their skill, test their loyalty. You don't know why what their effects could be. They should not go and push bug to your application. So I guess I've been able to share my thoughts from a senior developer's perspective, from an overview perspective, from a business perspective on how you should be able to secure your application. Thank you. If there are questions, I can take some for a few minutes before I leave. Please, do you have any question? All right. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, I think I have a question.
Okay.
So, I want to. I have an application, and that is on two different servers. So, the front end basically is being served from a different server from the there's another back end on another back server. Basically, I just want to call the APIs to get details from that endpoint. So if I'm the owner of this application and I don't want these APIs to be open to everyone. Basically, I want it secured. How can I secure it to say, okay, only this specific person can call this API, only this specific domain can call this API. So basically, every domain isn't just able to access my API. Every call to my API doesn't just respond successfully. How do I go about protecting this case?
That's a very, very, very good question. The check that you need to do, the most important one, I mean, there are a number of them, is to make sure that the request that you're handling, that your backend is handling, is only coming from where that front end is. So if your front end is 63.159.168.2, it means that if anything that is coming into that backend, any request that is coming to that backend, anything that is entering, as long as HTTP or HTTPS, you make sure that you do not respond to it and then you block it. Another thing you can also do is to block IPs that keep trying to that are persistent. So they might try the first time, you block them, second time you block them. But then you're actually sending out legitimate requests. But because again, it depends on how you configure your application. But if it is asynchronous, that's the first wait for the backend to say, oh, I don't know, I don't recognize you, please move to the side. Oh, I don't recognize you, move to the side. All of this move to the side is already taking resources. If you can even block them off so they don't even get to your checks, and you are only handling from where you instructed to. Another thing that you can also do, which is something I really encourage, is to generate like a UUID or a special key that is sent along that API to recognize, because you can have different what's the word I use? You can have like multiple servers serving that same application. So one could be from the mobile app, one could be from web app, and then you want to be able to track where all of those things is from. You can customize in your request header and then add like a unique UID where you'll be able to identify where each of these requests is coming from, and then you'll be able to treat it properly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Secondly, speaking of CSRF, how can I, for instance, I'm trying to use an instance here where I have a situation that now I need to access an API, but I'm being blocked based on the token that is being sent not being recognized by the let me get this right. I'm trying to use this scenario to explain this. Now I have a front end, I have a back end. Now I'm the one working, now it's my application, but I have the APIs on the back end. Now I'm trying to access the API to get some information from there. Then
And
I'm getting
you're being blocked.
the SRF issues. It keeps showing
Okay.
errors about. Hello,
Yeah,
someone
this
saying
is
something.
yeah, this is very common, especially with Laravel application. Not just Laravel, I think it's but like for me, I experience it a lot more, and I usually forget. I don't know why. This is when I keep getting, oh wait, I've not enabled CRS. In my config. So what that issue is, it could be a number of things. But what you should check first and importantly is your own configuration. Like what do you think? Like go back and check through your process, your security architecture. What layers of security have you put? At what point is this application actually being blocked? Is it blocked because of the IP address? Is it blocked because of rate limits? Probably I've sent too many requests within 1 minute, within 30 seconds, depending on how I have configured the application. And then you can adjust and check for all those things. Another thing you can also do is you can also maybe all of those checks, all of your middleware, all of your security, your firewall, and all of these things. You could also, especially if you are still developing, you can also probably enable or disable some of these checks so that while you're developing, you have a smoother experience. So it could just be a configuration of like if the application is in local, that is the environment is in local, skip all of these checks. You can only probably check it in production. So it helps you your developer experience. It makes it easier to build. But the most important thing is go back and then check all of your security. Like at what point, what did I put at this point? What did I put at this point? What did I put at this point? What could possibly be blocking this application at this point? And then you should also enable CRS in your config, which is telling it, I'm saying, oh, I want only applications from this IP address to be handled by this server. Do they match? Yes. Do they match? No. They go separate ways. Yeah, so that's it. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, there's the issue of how do I set up a webhook to say, okay, for instance, I'm integrating a gateway payment on my system, and then I'm calling a webhook, and the webhook is rejecting me, even despite that I've passed in the API that was generated. I mean, the token that was generated from the back end on the payment gateway, but yet I'm still being rejected from accessing that webhook. Or what could be the issue there?
Yeah. Okay. So what could most likely, there are a number of factors like I explained my former response is you have to go back. You have to check, okay, what could be wrong? Do you have to contact the providers if the webhook is not yours? Do you have to reach out to them now there's something actually wrong? Because it could be the error could be from them. It could be that they've actually flagged your IP address as maybe fraudulent or as spam. So they're not allowing your request to go through. It could be a configuration issue, it could be a downtime to one of the service. Maybe the one is supposed to verify and say, oh, this payment actually came through. One of those services down. It could just be a server error. What is important is you have a checklist, like I've mentioned. First, check from your end, make sure that it's not only of the configuration that you have made, any of this firewall, any of the security step that you have taken that is actually blocking me. If you're still getting that, reach out to the developers. If you're still having that, probably use a VPN. I don't know if anyone has been experiencing this, especially if you're in Nigeria. There's a lot of websites now that if you try to access them without VPN, it becomes a problem. Cloudflare, I don't remember the last time I accessed Cloudflare without VPN. So you might be struggling and be banging your head on your desk that, oh, what's causing this issue? What's causing this issue? Meanwhile, it's just another provider that's just actually blocked access to your region. So you should also, in that case, reach out to the owner of the webhook or the application or the payment gateway they're trying to integrate. I think that would, I don't know if I have time to take another question because I'm actually late. Do you have any question before I leave? Any other question before
I think that should be all.
Okay.
Or is there any other question? I guess not.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for your time. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. So, and then with that, I would say we have come to the end of the section. And yes, you can kindly all drop off and then go ahead with our daily activities. Thank you so much for your time today. And thank you, Tuba, also.